Brandi, specifically bringing Sheena into the situation with the ex-husband, was what Vanderpump started as. So
Right.
Brandi must feel so, it's not like I'm making an excuse for Brandi, but I feel like Brandi must feel like shit. She must feel like absolute shit.
Okay, now.
Randomly Ronnie Jr.
Say what?
Delusional, making the most of a bad experience, cabaret. There's an interest. So yeah, you might be right that the Two T's in a Pod show kind of does have a little bit of that backing. You might be right about that.
What do you think about Brandi and Caroline Manzo, real quick?
Brandi, I think that Caroline, I wasn't an early Jersey fan. I thought they all picked on Danielle, to be honest with you, like that big epic scene. Not saying Danielle was a superstar, but it was a little much. And Caroline grew on me. I think I loved when she did her spin-offs or whatever. She was definitely interesting, and I love that Caroline isn't a thirsty reality star. That difference does show through on the programs. But I do think, like, if I was Brandi, and as messy as it is, huh?
The lawsuit, like how we're not getting that season of Ultimate Girls Trip because what happened between Brandi and Caroline.
Well, obviously,
Caroline says Brandi, had some
well,
kind of,
and as much as you don't ever want to belittle that claim, I think I want to look at it more from like what Brandi has been given a job on every show. And that's when she went to go do the single show on the E! Channel or any other program she's ever done, is come in, light a fire, make some mess, make some muck, and just like, make a good television show. So I feel like it's really hard at one point to suddenly now all of a sudden create this space where like you went too far, because she may have not known that. And this is a tough one, Marki, because as a viewer, there's so many things we accept as viewers in these shows. Right. And so how do you define the line? So I want to be respectful of Caroline's feelings in this, but it really is unfortunate that that whole thing couldn't be edited out and we couldn't get the series. And I also feel like if I was casted, if I was Brandi, and I had been told, light this fire, light this fire, light this fire. Right. In fact, Brandi, specifically bringing Sheena into the situation with the ex-husband, was what Vanderpump started as. So right. Brandi must feel so, it's not like I'm making an excuse for Brandi, but I feel like Brandi must feel like shit. She must feel like absolute shit.
She must. And I mean, I think you're to speak to your point. Yeah, you hire Brandi because she's going to be the fire. You light that match and she's going to start that fire and she's going to create that drama, and she's sort of fearless with that. And then all of a sudden the line moves and now, you know what I mean? And I think that was what her lawsuit was basically like, wait a minute, like you knew what you get when you get me. So then don't play like, oh, whoa, you went too far, because what's too far?
Yeah.
Right. Like, but I think it sucks for us viewers that they, like you said, couldn't edit it out or even air it with that sort of put a disclaimer at the top of every episode. We Bravo don't condone blah, 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 blah. But let us be the judge of watching it. And I think the ratings would be through the roof. So it's kind of a shame that they're not, to be perfectly honest.
Well, see, reality TV used to be fun, but it's always going to be an interesting thing for somebody who doesn't watch reality TV and looks at this genre as a very lowbrow thing. Right. For someone on the outside to look in and say, well, isn't it all a mess? Isn't it all horrible treatment? Isn't it all actions that are very, should not be celebrated? So I think that's what gets really interesting. Where Brandi probably had a problem was, I believe, in her claim, it was like, oh, and because of this, I can't get work elsewhere. When people hear that, they don't like that. People really react in a way that they're like, well, you could go work at the Piggly Wiggly restaurant, and make your money. People don't like that. And I think that was maybe something that maybe she doesn't need to push as much, but she's been pushing, because of this, I can't get work nowhere else. Because when somebody's working their 9 to 5, busting their butt, their overtime, and they're barely making ends meet, they don't want to hear, even if Brandi's right, okay, because I do like Brandi, they don't want to hear that. And I think that was a problem. That was a little bit of a problem. They're like, you go work at the Piggly Wiggly restaurant for minimum wage, and you do what not minimum wage, but you get what I'm saying. So yeah. But no, I mean, it's reality TV. Like, she was told to light it up, and she did. Right.
Yeah. And then she got, and then don't forget about Leah, who sued Bravo, Leah from Real Housewives of New York, for saying that like, they promoted alcohol and they promoted, well, you're sober going on the show. You were
Yeah.
sober like 5 or 6 years, and then you on season 2 you break your sobriety.
Mhm.
That's on you. That you can't, you know what I mean? Meaning, but she claims that like the pressure to drink or be a certain way,
Yeah.
but I don't know, because then you watch New York, they're not big drinkers. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I don't know. I think New York, this new cast of New York doesn't work is because there's no chemistry between any of them.
Okay, but who do you like though? And so you would never bring Leah back. Would you bring like an Ebony back in the new group, or do you bring the old school girls back, the old school ladies back into the show? What do you do?
Ebony was an alumni of Become a Host. I
Hey, Ronnie Jr.